Imagine a man. He stands at the periphery of a warm, brightly lit room, a glass of wine in his hand. Laughter spills from the kitchen. The clinking of silverware punctuates a story being told at the dining table. He is not an outcast. He is a welcome guest. He is intelligent, articulate, and by all conventional measures successful. He has a career that fulfills him, friendships that sustain him, and a mind that is a rich and vibrant place to inhabit. He is kind, he is present. He is to all appearances a complete human being. And yet, there is a subtle, almost imperceptible friction when he moves through these spaces. It's a dissonance in the social symphony. He feels it when the conversation inevitably turns to relationships. A well-meaning friend's wife turns to him, her smile a mixture of genuine warmth and something else. Something sharper, a kind of diagnostic pity. "So," she begins, the word hanging in the air like a baited hook, "still haven't found the right one?" The question is not a question. It is an accusation disguised as concern. It presumes a lack, a void, a state of incompletion. It implies his life is a waiting room, a prelude to the real story that has yet to begin. In that moment, the man feels a familiar shift in the atmosphere. The easy camaraderie tightens. The eyes of the coupled men and women around him, once seeing him as an equal, now regard him as a puzzle to be solved, a problem to be fixed, or worse, a strange and unsettling anomaly. He has learned to navigate these moments with a practiced grace, offering a vague, placating smile. But inside, a silent question screams, why? Why is his contentment perceived as a flaw? Why is his self-sufficiency met not with admiration, but with suspicion? He is not a recluse. He is not embittered or brokenhearted. He has loved, and perhaps he will love again. But he is not searching. He is not defined by the absence of a partner. His life is a rich tapestry woven with purpose and passion, and the thread of romantic partnership is simply not its central motif right now. And this, he has discovered, is the cardinal sin. The reaction is most pronounced and most unnerving from women. Not all women, of course, but a significant and vocal contingent who seem to view him with a unique blend of fascination and a deep, instinctual hostility. It's a quiet war waged in loaded questions and backhanded compliments. "It's so brave of you to be on your own. You must be so focused on your career." The subtext is always the same. What is wrong with you? A man who is desirable but uncaptured, content but uncommitted, is a glitch in the social matrix. He is a beautiful locked room in a house where every other door is open. And the question that burns in their minds is not what's inside the room, but why he refuses to hand over the key. What is this strange, unspoken antagonism? It is not simple frustration, not merely the annoyance of a woman who might otherwise be interested. It runs deeper. It feels ancient, primal. It's the kind of deep-seated disapproval reserved for those who break a sacred, unspoken pact. He is a defector from a cause he never consciously enlisted in. Why does the man who has cultivated his own inner world, who has found peace in his own company, who has built a life so complete that a partner would be a welcome addition rather than a necessary component, why does this man become the target of such profound psychological unease? What fundamental law of nature is he violating? What ancient script is he refusing to read from? It isn't a social problem, it's an existential one. His quiet rebellion seems to threaten something far beyond the social order of a dinner party. It's as if his peaceful solitude sends a tremor through the very foundations of human connection, questioning the grand narrative we have all been told, that our salvation lies in another. To understand this strange, quiet hatred, we must look past the surface of modern dating and social etiquette. We must dig into the bedrock of the human psyche, into the dark, volcanic core of our most primal drives. We must ask what happens when a single, conscious individual dares to stand against the blind, relentless will of life itself. That blind, relentless will of life itself has a name. The 19th century philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer called it simply the will, a seething, irrational, cosmic force of pure striving that animates everything. from a plant reaching for sunlight to the tectonic plates grinding beneath our feet. The will has no goal other than its own endless continuation. It is a hunger that can never be satiated, and we, with our consciousness and our fragile egos, are its most sophisticated and tragically self-aware instruments. Our happiness is not its concern. Our fulfillment is a currency it does not trade in. We are merely vessels for its primary, unthinking imperative, to perpetuate life. And its most ingenious tool, its most beautiful and devastating deception, is what we call love. According to Schopenhauer, the feeling of romantic attraction is not our own. It is the genius of the species operating through us. It is the will whispering in a language we mistake for our own heart, meticulously selecting a partner not for our personal compatibility or long-term happiness, but for the most biologically optimal offspring. The specific qualities we find irresistible in another, the curve of their jaw, the timbre of their voice, the particular way they laugh, are, in this bleak schema, nothing more than the will's carefully calibrated bait. We are caught in a gravitational pull towards another person, believing we are exercising free choice, when in fact we are puppets in a genetic drama written billions of years before we were born. The grand romance is, in its essence, a grand biological con. Now consider the man from the dinner party, the man who is contentedly single. He is not merely a social outlier. In Schopenhauer's world, he is a heretic. He is a glitch in the inexorable machine. He has, through some combination of wisdom, circumstance, or sheer force of character, stepped outside the intoxicating illusion. He has recognized the bait for what it is and has chosen not to bite. By finding fulfillment within himself, he has achieved a state of quiet rebellion against the tyranny of the will. He is a tool that has laid itself down. He has broken the spell, and this is where the quiet hostility begins. It is the will's immune response. The woman who looks at him with that mixture of pity and suspicion is, in that moment, an agent of this cosmic force. Her unease is not truly hers. It is the shudder of the system encountering a failure. Her question, "Why are you still single?" is the will's question translated into polite social code. Why are you malfunctioning? Why do you refuse your biological destiny? Why have you forsaken the sacred duty of perpetuation? To understand the mechanics of this refusal, we must turn from the grim metaphysics of Schopenhauer to the psychological maps of Carl Jung. For Jung, the ultimate goal of a human life was not perpetuation, but individuation, the process of becoming a whole, integrated self. The psyche, he believed, is a realm of opposites, conscious and unconscious, thinking and feeling, masculine and feminine. A man carries within him a subconscious feminine archetype, the anima. A woman carries a subconscious masculine archetype, the animus. For most of us, this inner other is a ghost limb. We are not whole. We feel a profound, aching incompleteness. And so we project that inner figure onto the people we meet. A man projects his anima, his idealized vision of the feminine, onto a woman, and falls in love not with her, but with the reflection of a missing part of his own soul. A woman does the same, projecting her animus onto a man. The relationship becomes a crucible where two incomplete people desperately try to feel whole by possessing the external carrier of their own missing half. This is the psychological gravity that Schopenhauer's will uses to pull its puppets together. The truly single man, the one who unnerves the system, is one who has dared to do the work. He has journeyed inward. He has faced the shadows in his own psychic basement and has begun the difficult process of integrating his anima. He has learned to cultivate his own receptivity, his own creativity, his own emotional depth. He no longer needs to find his soul in a woman's eyes because he is beginning to find it within himself. He has achieved a level of psychological sovereignty. This is the ultimate threat. When a woman whose sense of self is still dependent on the dance of projection encounters this man, her entire reality is challenged. She extends the hook of her projected animus, expecting him to bite, to play his part, to carry the masculine ideal for her so she can feel complete. But the hook finds no purchase. He doesn't need her to be his other half because he is already becoming whole. The unease she feels is the vertigo of looking at a man who is living proof that the game she is playing is not the only one in town. His contentment is a silent critique of her own search. It suggests that the salvation she seeks in another might actually be found within. This is a terrifying revelation, one that could dismantle the very foundations of her identity. And so the psyche, in a desperate act of self-preservation, reacts with hostility. It is easier to label him as broken, strange, or emotionally unavailable than to face the radical, earth-shattering possibility that he might actually be free. The hatred is a shield, protecting her from the blinding light of his inner completion. It is the cry of an identity built on the premise of a shared narrative, confronting the one who has dared to write his own story. But what does this hidden war mean for the rest of us, the ones still playing the game, caught in this web of will and projection? What are the unseen costs of this beautiful, necessary, and potentially devastating illusion? This hidden war, this silent friction at a dinner party, is a microcosm of a vast and often tragic human drama. The unseen consequences of this dance of the will and the projected soul ripple through our entire existence, shaping our societies, our art, and the very texture of our private suffering. We believe we are building lives based on conscious choices, but all too often we are merely arranging the furniture in a prison we do not know we are in. The first and most pervasive consequence is the institutionalization of incompleteness. Our entire culture is a grand cathedral built to the mind of the other half. From fairy tales that drill into us the idea of a one true love who will complete us, to the relentless marketing of romantic comedies, engagement rings, and dating apps, the message is singular and deafening. You are not enough on your own. Your life is a problem, and a relationship is the solution. This cultural conditioning acts as a powerful cognitive bias, a confirmation loop for the Schopenhauerian will. It ensures that the majority remain anxiously seeking, forever projecting their Jungian anima or animus outwards, ensuring the species engine keeps running. This creates a society of what we might call identity by proxy. A person's worth, especially a woman's, has been historically and culturally fused with her relational status. The old insult of the spinster was not just a social critique, it was an existential branding, marking a woman as a failure in the biological and social marketplace. While we may believe we have evolved past such crude labels, the neurology of judgment remains. When a woman instinctively distrusts the contentedly single man, she is enacting a deeply conditioned, almost neurological reflex. He represents a social and existential void that threatens the stability of her own identity, which has been built on the bedrock of relational value. His self-possession feels like a judgment on her own dependence on the system. If he can be whole alone, does that render her search for a partner less noble, less necessary, perhaps even a little foolish? This leads to the second, more intimate consequence, the subtle poisoning of relationships themselves. When two people come together, not as two whole individuals choosing to share their journey, but as two fragmented selves desperately seeking to complete themselves through each other, the foundation is laid for suffering. The initial ecstasy of projection, he's everything I've ever wanted, inevitably crumbles as the real flawed human being emerges from behind the projected ideal. The anima or animus projection shatters, and what is left is resentment. You've changed, is the common complaint, when in fact the person was never who they were perceived to be. They were a screen for a psychic movie, and the movie has ended. This dynamic creates a cycle of codependency, resentment, and a quiet, gnawing disappointment that defines so many modern relationships. People become emotional hostages to one another. The man resents the woman for not being the eternally nurturing, receptive goddess of his projected anima. The woman resents the man for not being the unwavering, decisive hero of her projected animus. They are trapped, not by a lack of love, but by the very mechanism that brought them together. They are fighting with shadows, their own and their partners, never truly seeing the person standing in front of them. The will got what it wanted, a stable unit for potential procreation. And it has moved on, leaving two conscious, suffering individuals to deal with the wreckage of its beautiful lie. The final, most tragic consequence is the foreclosure of the self. The journey of individuation, that heroic inner quest to integrate the fractured parts of our psyche, is abandoned before it even begins. It is far easier to find a temporary, external fix for our inner emptiness than to do the terrifying work of confronting our own depths. We outsource our soul's completion. Why descend into the labyrinth of your own unconscious to find your courage when you can just date a man who seems courageous? Why cultivate your own inner world of feeling and creativity when you can find a woman who seems to embody it for you? This is the great, unseen bargain we make. We trade the possibility of genuine, sovereign wholeness for the comforting, immediate relief of a projected connection. The contentedly single man is a living, breathing reminder of the path not taken. He is the specter of the abandoned quest. His peace is an indictment of our own frantic searching. His silence is louder than all our noisy distractions. He has not given up on love. He has given up on the illusion that love is something you find instead of something you become. And by doing so, he exposes the profound, terrifying truth that many of us are living our lives as ghosts, haunting the relationships we believe give us substance, unaware that the real life we are meant to live is waiting for us deep within. How then does one escape this prison? How does one begin this abandoned quest and reclaim the self that has been outsourced? The escape does not begin with a dramatic act of defiance. It does not begin with denouncing love or retreating into bitter isolation. That is not rebellion. That is merely another form of imprisonment, a cell of resentment built next to the one of desire. No, the true rebellion is far quieter, more radical, and begins not with an action, but with a shift in perception. It begins with the courage to turn your gaze away from the horizon, away from the search for the missing piece, and to direct it for the first time unflinchingly inward. It is the act of withdrawing the projection. This is the great, terrifying, and liberating first step. You must consciously recognize that the magnetic pull you feel towards another person, that intoxicating cocktail of idealization and desire, is not just about them. It is a mirror. The qualities you worship in them are the disowned and undeveloped qualities within yourself. The man who is endlessly drawn to the wild, free-spirited woman is projecting his own caged and domesticated anima. He does not need her. He needs to uncage himself. The woman who idolizes the strong, silent, stoic man is projecting her own unintegrated animus. She does not need his strength. She needs to discover her own. This realization is the key. You must learn to sit in the fire of your own longing and ask, what part of me is this person reflecting? You must become a psychic detective, tracing the projection back to its source. This is the work Viktor Frankl spoke of in his masterpiece, Man's Search for Meaning. Trapped in the hell of a concentration camp, Frankl survived not by focusing on what he could get from the world, but by turning inward, finding meaning in his suffering, and conversing with an inner image of his wife. He was not projecting onto her in the Jungian sense of completing himself. He was using his inner, integrated feminine as a source of strength. He had done the work. He demonstrated that the human spirit's ultimate freedom is the ability to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. The rebellion, then, is to choose to see love not as a rescue mission, but as a spiritual exercise. The second stage of this rebellion is the deliberate cultivation of your inner opposite. For a man, this means consciously undertaking the anima work. It is the act of turning towards the parts of himself that society has taught him to repress. He must learn the language of feeling. He must trade brute force for receptivity. He must spend time in nature not to conquer it, but to listen to it. He must engage with art, poetry, and music, not as a consumer, but as a participant. He must, as the poet Rilke commanded, go into yourself. He must learn to be comfortable in the silence, to find solace in his own company, to parent his own inner world. This is not an act of becoming more feminine in the stereotypical sense. It is an act of becoming more whole. For a woman, it is the animus work. She must cultivate the qualities she has been conditioned to outsource to men. She must develop her own logos, her own structure of thought, her own unwavering principles. She must learn to take decisive action based on her own judgment, not on the consensus of others. She must build something tangible in the world, a business, a body of work, a philosophical framework that is entirely her own. She must become her own hero, her own provider of stability and order. This is not about becoming more masculine. It is about reclaiming the power she has been taught to give away. Think of the historical figures who embodied this rebellion. Think of Nikola Tesla, a man so consumed by the fire of his own inner vision that the ordinary dramas of romance seemed like a distraction from a far grander love affair with the universe itself. Think of Joan of Arc, a young woman so fiercely connected to her inner voice, her animus in Jungian terms, that it gave her the authority to lead armies. These are extreme examples, but they illustrate a profound principle. A life powered by an integrated internal source burns with a different kind of light. This process is not easy. It is a lonely path. Withdrawing your projections means you will no longer feel the ecstatic high of falling in love in the same way. That feeling will be replaced by something calmer, deeper, and more discerning. You will begin to see people for who they truly are, not for who you need them to be. The world will, for a time, seem less magical, less technicolor, but you will be seeing it for the first time with your own eyes. This is the freedom of the man at the dinner party. He is not empty, he is full. He has filled his own cup, so he no longer needs to drink from another's. His rebellion is not a statement against women or against love. It is a testament to the most profound love affair of all, the union of the self with the soul. He has broken free from the will's puppet strings, not by cutting them, but by learning to control them himself. He has transformed the biological imperative into a conscious choice. And in doing so, he unlocks a final, deeper truth, a realization that reframes the entire human experience of connection. For a lifetime, you have been taught to think of love as a form of gravity, an irresistible force, a fated collision, a pulling of two objects into a shared orbit. You fall into it. You are swept off your feet by it. It happens to you. This is the language of the Schopenhauerian will, the narrative of the incomplete self seeking its other half. It is a story of beautiful, helpless surrender. But the ultimate truth, the realization that dawns after the hard, lonely work of rebellion, is this: true love is not gravity. It is light. Gravity pulls. It is a function of mass and need. It is the force of two empty spaces demanding to be filled, a vacuum that collapses inward upon itself. It is possessive, conditional, and born of lack. It is the codependent relationship, the anxious attachment, the fear of being alone. It is the root of the quiet hostility towards the man who dares to stand outside its field, for he has no mass of emptiness for the world's gravity to act upon. Gravity says, I need you to be whole. It is a transaction disguised as an emotion. It is the currency of the will. Light, however, does not pull. It radiates. It emanates from a source that is already burning. A star does not demand planets to orbit it in order to justify its existence. It simply shines. Its heat and light are a consequence of its own internal fusion, its own wholeness. It gives without asking for anything in return. It does not need the darkness to define it. It simply is. This is the love that becomes possible only after the journey of individuation. It is the love of the integrated self. The man at the dinner party is not a black hole of need. He is becoming a star. His contentment is the heat of his own inner fusion. He has done the alchemical work of uniting the disparate parts of his own psyche, his logic and his feeling, his strength and his vulnerability, his animus and his anima. He is no longer looking for a partner to light up his world because he has learned how to generate his own light. And here is the most powerful paradigm shift of all. When two such people, two stars, find each other, the nature of connection is fundamentally transformed. It is no longer a relationship of need, but a relationship of resonance. It is not about filling a void, but about sharing an abundance. The gravitational pull of codependency is replaced by a celestial dance of mutual illumination. I love you no longer means I need you. It means I see you now. It means I see your light and I am not threatened by it. I will not try to possess it or diminish it. I will simply stand in its presence and shine my own light alongside it. This is the love that sets free. It is a love that says, I would be happy with you and I would be happy without you, but I choose to share my happiness with you. There is no desperation in it, no clinging, no fear. It is a conscious, sovereign choice made by two whole beings, not a frantic, unconscious bargain made by two halves. This is why the hostility towards the individuated man is ultimately so tragic. It is the fear of light. It is the reflex of a world accustomed to the crushing weight of gravity, recoiling from the gentle, liberating pressure of radiance. The woman who feels that primal animosity is not hating the man. She is hating the mirror he holds up to her own unlit lamp. She is fighting against the terrifying, glorious invitation to become a source of light herself. Your life, then, is not a search for your other half. That is the lie that has kept you running in circles, forever outsourcing your own completion. Your life is a quest to gather all the fragmented parts of yourself and build your own internal star. It is the sacred, difficult work of self-creation. It is about descending into your own darkness, not to be consumed by it, but to find the fuel buried there. It is about facing your loneliness not as a curse, but as a crucible. It is in that silent, solitary space that you finally learn to generate your own heat. Look around you. The world is full of gravitational relationships, collapsed stars pulling each other into tighter and tighter orbits of mutual need and quiet despair. But look closer. Here and there you will see a different glow. You will see the individuals who walk with a certain lightness, a self-possessed calm. They are not needy. They are not searching. They are radiating. They are the ones who have done the work. They have understood that the purpose of life is not to find a person to hide in, but to become a person who has no need to hide. This is your invitation. Stop searching for the one. Become the one. Stop looking for the light. Go into your own darkness and ignite it. The ultimate truth is not that you will find someone who completes you. The ultimate truth is that you will become so complete within yourself that your love will cease to be a hunger and will become a gift. It will no longer be gravity. It will be light, and you will finally be free.